Ready to improve your marriage? Not sure how? Want intimacy, fun, and sex back in your marital relationship? Stay tuned for an episode of Recharge Your Marriage coming up right now. Tonight, in the bedroom, we'll look at ways to ignite romance back into your marriage. Lack of sex is the #1 complaint about married sex. Go figure. You surprised? There are distractions and problems. Porno, masturbation, infidelity, low T, performance fears, disinterest, stress, lack of communication, body image are among the many reasons marital sex diminishes. Getting your romance rekindled in marriage isn't so easy, but there are ways to try. One of them is utilizing our ability for imagination and fantasy. This is an amazing feature all of us have on board our bodies. Try it for a moment, please. Close your eyes. You can fantasize about anything, and no one knows. Our fantasies can take us anywhere and allow us to do anything. Haven't you ever had a fantasy about a sexual encounter? Don't worry, you don't have to tell us. It's your business. Perhaps in a dream, sometimes a little disturbing, you wake up in a cold or hot sweat, or remember something troubling, or something just way too hot to admit. Ever read something that turned you on so much your reaction to yourself was embarrassing, even shameful? I see lots of intensity at all that hot reading people are doing on the decks, beaches, living rooms, and bedrooms of our land. Fantasy is free. It lives in the privacy of our personal experience. When we commit to a relationship, fantasy is still there. We may try to suppress it because of what it may feel lead us to. We've all seen couples where one spouse is straining not to look at the pretty, handsome, or well put together person who strolls by or makes the mistake of looking, much to the dismay and wrath of their spouse. Some marriages can handle the fantasy of our spouses. For others, it's a huge conflict that often constricts communication. Should it be that way? Should a lot of things, right? We have a choice to utilize fantasy, this magnificent human ability to enhance our marital relationships. We can say it's forbidden, taboo, and suppress it, or do what you can do. Maybe take it up a notch. Just be game. Talk about it. Try not to close your partner out of your sexual life. When a partner is closed out of a human tendency to seek relief from pent-up sexual feelings. As you know, there are many outlets outside of marriage available and quite seductive. So we need to turn this sexual energy towards our marriage and make room for it, even though it's both risky, risque, and downright scary for some. Rekindling romance doesn't start on its own. It's a little uncomfortable. It requires focus and effort. It's worth the trade-off for a happier, closer, more intimate life together. Talking honestly to each other about what you like, what you sometimes think about, a little fantasy about what you want your spouse to wear. Say a little nostalgic fantasy about what you used to think sexually about each other when you were courting. recently or back in the Stone Age. This could result in the two of you having some sexy, hot interludes. I always love that word, interludes. It sounds so much more sexy than relations. Marriages need more interludes. Wouldn't you agree? Guilty thought, guilty thought, guilty thought. But we're not supposed to think such things like sexual fantasy. Well, people fantasize anyway. They just learn to keep it to themselves, if they have to. Remember, these private, intimate moments are occurring in the private walls, and for many of you, the sanctity of your marital relationship. You can talk about anything. Wouldn't it be okay to talk to the person you love about your sexual needs and desires? Seems like this is the place. Start with fantasies that involve each other. Like, remember when we were starting out, I would fantasize about you and what we could and someday would do together? Ooh, you couldn't wait. Feel the anticipation? It's hot, not boring marital status quo. Isn't there a song about this? Fantasy is what we have whether we suppress it or try to suppress our spouse. The easier marriage beneficial move is a bit of honest, sexy talk. Look, on a side note, if sex has been obligatory in your marriage, one way with you playing a passive role, or sex has physically hurt you because of lack of foreplay, lubrication, or your partner's rough, or there's a hygiene problem that turns you off, or something else. If we can't talk to our spouses about what turns us off, how can we talk to them about what turns us on? So here are some suggestions for your consideration. 5 ways to ignite romance back in your marriage. Number 1, break the ice. Put past disappointments behind you. Spend time together, talking, enjoying, connecting. You might have to practice that a little. Make some overtures. Give sensual gifts, flowers, lotion, clothes. Offer to massage your spouse's forehead when you get into bed. Find the doorway to touch. And 2, schedule some alone time together. Create together times, routines. Have a little ambiance. Light a candle, if I could get it lit. Whoopie-doo. Ah, we lit it. And look, it smells too. Look your best and freshen up. Step out of the usual into the sensual. 3, hold the domesticated and put on the sexy. You can do it. Sexy is an attitude and a look. You're not daddy. You're not mommy tonight. You're a frisky, sexual being with legitimate sexual needs. 4, create intimate marital scenarios. Act out new marital scenes. You're already sustaining scenes you're familiar with. They're just not leading to intimate relations. Focus on what you can do to make your intimate time playful, spicier, and sexier. Find a way to communicate by exploration. Wow, that was nice and sexy, honey. And 5, plan a next time. If it went well or not so great, plan a next time. This takes a little doing it more often. Feel free to talk about it. Show appreciation for the try and the effort. Hey, you two, break the ice. Spend some time relaxing with each other and do a little loving if you want. Bring the sexual aspect of your relationship back into focus. Put sex back on the menu.